So most of us today talk about eating healthy. We have vegetables, we have fruits, we have legumes, beans, different kinds of dals if you're from India. And it's all good. But at the same time, some of our vegetables, fruits are filled with pesticides. And in today's episode, what I want to focus on to have practical ways of what we can do when we bring our vegetables, fruits, our legumes, our beans from the supermarket or a local store or a local market, of how to be able to wash our vegetables so that we are taking in the right nutrients that our body requires. Now the video, we are going to go to the supermarket, and it's going to be a rough video, but at least you'll get the point of how to clean your vegetables and your fruits. So when we walk into any supermarket, you'll be able to see aisles of really fresh looking vegetables. You'll find capsicums, you'll find cabbage, you'll find avocados, you'll find mushrooms, and all these vegetables, the supermarket is trying their best to make sure that it looks decent, it looks clean, and we pick those vegetables from the aisle and put it into our basket. Now many of us are actually touching all those vegetables to be able to try and figure out which one we should take for ourselves, right? And all that touching in the supermarket is also imposing bacteria from human contamination as well, not only just the harsh chemicals and pesticides that are currently on that particular fruit or vegetable. So I've tried my best to be able to show you at least one tropical fruit. I mean, there are different other tropical fruits like your mangoes, your papaya, and some people call it pawpaw, some people call it pawpaw, some people call it a different fruit, but you get the point. Like, you can get bananas. Now some of these tropical fruits are obviously treated because they are plucked when they are still green, and in shipment they are supposed to be ripened so that they are ready for us in our supermarkets. But you know, sometimes most people have said that these fruits are treated with calcium carbide, which is a ripening agent that is used in some countries. Officially it is banned, it's illegal, but in some tropical countries it's still being practiced. And this calcium carbide is an artificially ripening agent which basically helps the bananas, mangoes, and papayas to be able to be ripened in shipment. We do not want to use these kind of fruits. I mean, I see on Facebook sometimes mangoes for sale right from India, and you know, you'll have a big box of mangoes. Now I don't know if this is being treated in the right way, if they are being ripened using calcium carbide. That is something that you need to make a decision on. And what I would recommend is, if you are in a different country, if you're not in the tropical country, then it is better to use the local fruits of that specific season rather than trying to get something because we miss it from back home. Now, when you check the labels on the fruits and vegetables, sometimes you will get to see a PLU code, which is called a price lookup code. And it's in the form of a sticker to identify the variety and the status of the type of food it is. Now, most labels will have it as 4 digits, and if it is a 4-digit, it means it's conventionally grown, but it's not organic. So it could be treated with chemicals, pesticides, and sprayed on fruits as well as your vegetables. Sometimes you'll find the fruit label with having 5 digits, and if it begins with the number 9, that means that it is organically grown. And if you go to like overseas countries, I'm not sure this is available in New Zealand, but in the United States and so forth, you will find some codes which are 5-digit codes, and if it starts with the number 8, that means it's genetically modified GMO. So if you're traveling, make sure that you're picking a code which is either a 4-digit code or a 5-digit code that it starts with the number 9 for organic, or at least a 4-digit code. Try to stay away from a 5-digit code that starts with 8. In your aisles, in your supermarket, sometimes you will find frozen vegetables, and it's good to take some of these frozen vegetables because sometimes you're in a hurry and you just want to make some vegetables. Now in New Zealand specifically, you will find different brands, and if it says 100% New Zealand produce or New Zealand grown, that is the one that you need to pick, because at least you know where the source is, which is from New Zealand. Sometimes you will find on packages where they talk about local and imported ingredients, which means that it might be packed locally in New Zealand, but the ingredients could be from different other countries. And it's known from the Consumers New Zealand website that the top 5 countries that we import our vegetables from are from China, Chile, USA, Vietnam, Thailand. So it's always a good practice to be able to see on the package if it has the label 100% New Zealand grown. Mentioned, we should be eating seasonal fruits and vegetables grown in New Zealand all year round, rather than try and depict a particular fruit or vegetable that we miss from back home, especially if we have migrated to a different country. And to get to know what's in season, there is a really good website which is called 5aday.co.nz, and I've listed it in the description box below as well, so that you can actually go and check your fruits and vegetables before you go for your shopping. So now we're going to have some fun, and we're going to be washing some of these fruits and vegetables. I mean, I've just taken a sample so that you get an understanding. So for any of your fruit and vegetables, when you're deciding to cook it, just soak it in water first for 5 minutes and then drain that water out. Then again, put the fruits and vegetables in that pot. If possible, use filtered water rather than the chemical water that we get from our taps. And in that water, I want you to put 1 tablespoon of baking soda. All right. Now, baking soda comes in different forms, and I'll try and show it to you from the supermarkets that we went and visited. So most baking sodas will just have the word baking soda. Make sure it's not baking powder, it's baking soda. And baking soda, again, there are different types. If you can, it would be good to get the aluminium free, but if the supermarket doesn't have it, it's better to have baking soda than not wash your fruits and vegetables with something that's going to at least extract those pesticides that are sitting on top of the vegetable. So when you have soaked your vegetables in baking soda now, which is 1 tablespoon, keep that those vegetables soaked into the bowl for about 15 minutes. Do not try to just do it in 5 minutes and then throw the water out. It's better to keep it for 15 minutes. Once it's done 15 minutes, then again wash it under the tap water. If you have a filtered water system, then use the filtered water, but then thoroughly wash it before you start cutting your vegetables and your fruits. Now, when it comes to cleaning mushrooms, I was told that you don't need to wash your mushrooms, but now after doing a little bit of research, I've recognized that when mushrooms just sit in the supermarket and you're trying to pick up some mushrooms, it's better to wash your mushrooms. And it's really easy because mushrooms do not soak in water. So the first thing to do is just put the mushrooms, the amount that you're going to be using for your cooking, into a bowl of water. Let it soak over there for about a minute, then rinse the mushrooms, and then again put water into your bowl and keep it soaked for a little while, say about 2 minutes, before you can then use like a paper towel or a normal cooking towel to be able to just dry them before using your mushrooms. Now, if you have access or excess of mushrooms that you don't want to use for your cooking, just wipe them dry and put it into a brown paper bag or a paper bag rather than keeping it into the plastic packets, because mushrooms will last longer in a paper bag. I want to talk about legumes, beans, dals. I mean, you get them in different grocery stores, your local store, your Indian stores, your Bangladeshi, your Sri Lankan stores. But it's important that we recognize that even these beans, legumes, dals have got pesticides in them, and it's important. That's the only reason why people soak the beans overnight, because these beans have a particular acid that helps themselves to be able to protect them from insects and so forth in the wild nature. It's called lectin, and this lectin is not good for the human body. And that's why a lot of people sometimes complain about having gas, feeling an upset stomach, especially if you're just boiling those beans and eating it, right? So it's always good to soak that overnight and then drain that water and wash those beans really well. And what I do as an extra step, I mean, it's not been proven from research, but it is said that it is going to be good for the system when you put those beans into water and just give it a boil for about 1 or 2 minutes when the water is boiling, and drain that water out, and then do the whole process of cooking your beans the right way. In that way, the beans let go of the lectin and you're removing any of that stuff before you can actually enjoy a meal. So when you look at potatoes, you'll have, like, I don't know how it is in other parts of the world, but in New Zealand we have like washed potatoes and then potatoes that have soil. Now both these potatoes, it is advisable again to wash it. Probably you do not need to do the whole baking soda method, but at least use good water to be able to scrub those potatoes so that you're removing any dirt or contamination from human hands during the whole process. When you see beans, when you see fish tins in the supermarket, it's very important, or it's very easy for us to forget that we need to wash that tin lid before we open the tin lid, okay? Because you don't know what's been sitting on it. Probably even in your kitchen, in the shelf, there could be a cockroach that actually goes around on that lid, and you don't want that to be, getting into your foods. So it's important that you wash those lids, okay? And another thing about beans, if you are going down the path where you want to have just canned beans rather than do the whole overnight process that I spoke about, then make sure at least your canned beans are BPA free rather than just getting a can which is not BPA free. Now don't ask me why BPA free and why not BPA free. Of course, you'll pay a little bit more for a BPA free can, but remember, it's your health at the end of the day. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. It is a short video that I've tried to make and give you like a rough sketch of how to wash your fruits and vegetables. Make sure if you're watching this on YouTube to be able to click that subscribe button and the notification button. And if you are on Facebook, then please give us a like or a heart or a wow so that we also feel motivated. I hope that you've enjoyed this, and please do share it with your friends and your family members so that they can also get something of value. Take care and have a great life.